Here we go. Hey, 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 everybody. Guess who it is? It is Maya. I am back again. This is the Mad Chatter Show. This is the Tainted Tea segment. And I have with me Mr. Rogers. Today we are interviewing an amazing guest. So Mr. Rogers, would you like to say hello and introduce our guest? I love to say that, Mr. Rogers. Would you like to say hello, please?
It is Mr. Rogers, but not that one. But Spinja is still going to hook me up with a dope red cardigan at some point. So we're still working on that, just so everybody knows. But you're absolutely right. Today we have an amazing guest who's absolutely fascinating. He's a new friend of mine that I made through some interaction. We were both doing advertising for the Full Disclosure Now movement through Brian Sang. And he is a UFOlogist and a director, and he has an amazing new movie out right now on Amazon, and it is Middle 2 CE3 that I just watched, and it absolutely blew my mind, is Donald Ledesma.
That's it.
Welcome. Hello. Say hello.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me on your show today. I really appreciate it. I'm blessed to be here today.
Yes, welcome. So would you like to introduce yourself and let people know a little bit who you are? And however you would like to go from there. It's totally up to you.
Right on. Well, my name is Donald Ledesma. I'm actually a ufologist. I'm a studying ufologist, just like everybody else. I'll just say I'm a citizen ufologist. Okay, we'll put it that way. I'm also a director. I've made already 2 films, 3 of them already. The third one's not out yet, but the first film I made was called The Middle Cascadia Guides. That was released in late 2022. And early 2023. So, and then we decided to go ahead. 6 months later, we shot the next one, which was the middle part 2, which is the one that Don just saw. And we shot that in 12 days as well as a first one. The first one actually was 14 days. The second was 12-day shoot. But we had an experience that I've never seen before. Like the first movie, it's called The Middle Cascadia Guides. I went all the way from Texas, South Texas. I live down here in Corpus Christi, Texas. And I drove 3,000 freaking miles one way to Oregon to go and interview this a friend of mine. His name is Terry Lynch. I was talking to him before. He was sending me pictures of a find that he found on top of a mountain up there. Is called Paulina Peak there in Oregon, right? He lives in Lapine, Oregon. And he said, "Look, you have to see this. Nobody's seen it." He started catching it on satellite imagery. And he says, "You have to see this." And I was like, okay. So he started sending me this. This is when I had my Alien Strand podcast. I just started in 2019. So we had already been talking for about 3 or 4 months. He started sending me these pictures of what he found. So on top of this mountain, there's it's called a geoglyph. And it's a rock formation that was on top of the side of this 8,700 foot mountain on the edge. And it looks like 2 aliens that are sitting back to back with each other, a male and a female. One's facing north, one's facing south. Okay. So on that find, that's what the first movie, The Cascadia Guides, is about. It's about the find that he found. When we go up there, we start measuring, we take, we show you exactly what it is. And the connection that he made, because even while he was up there looking for this place that he found on satellite imagery, he saw UFOs. He was recording UFOs go over this general area right on top of that geoglyph. He kept on catching a UFO go right over, right? There was one that stopped, spun, shone a light down towards it. This is broad daylight, okay? You can see the flashes of light towards it, and it shoots off. You see that in our film, right? This is his documentation that he has, right? So even at night out there, we filmed that black hole. It's called the hole in the ground. We go up there as well, right? This is in Oregon, mind you. So we do all that, and we make this amazing film. It's called The Middle Cascadia Guides, which you need to watch. I recommend everybody watch that first before part 2. So that's on YouTube right now. It's on our Alien Strand for free there, or on Tubi TV. You catch it there for free as well. So it's free right now, and you don't have to pay for it. And then we went ahead and just shot the middle part two because we have a group called Alien Strand Disclosure Project. And that is a team of ufologists that we all citizen ufologists get together. And most of what we notice is most of these people that are as part of citizen ufologists have all had the story of when they see these UFOs or things up in the sky, that strange things start happening to them in the house, right after. Mostly almost everyone. So, and the film, the middle part two, brings these stories to life of these people that witness these things, and then whatever happens afterwards in their homes.
I just wanted to go into something there. You mentioned Terry Lynch, and my partner and I watched the movie earlier today, like I had mentioned, and completely different set of circumstances. But when he described his awakening after what happened to him, her and I kept looking at each other because everything he described is a stage I've gone through since my most recent spiritual awakening in September of last year. He literally repeats verbatim what has happened to me since September of last year. I've come in touch with everything. I understand new things of the universe. I'm actually working on an explanation of the matrix simulation theory right now, and I only have a grade 11 dropout education, so I don't know where this is coming from.
Wow.
But I completely yeah. Well, Maya did happen to find a fractal of Archangel Gabriel during one of our
It's his
sessions.
highest self. No. It's your higher self. When I ask his highest self is Archangel Gabriel. You gotta own it. You gotta own it. I know it's hard to say because you're like, oh, I'm just a, mountain boy. No, you are there's something very, you are, everyone plays a part. See, yeah. This is my little part, my little therapy part. Own who you are.
Right on.
But no, like it was just insane. Like listening to Terry was like listening to myself because everything he touched on has happened to me since September of last year.
Wow.
And I don't know why I just had to tell you that I really felt a connection to him, because it's like, holy shit, we had like the same awakening.
And this guy was a biker. He was a leader of a motorcycle gang, a pretty bad dude. Like when he walked around, and I know him. He's told me a lot of stories. When he was this guy, he was this bad dude. Nobody wanted to be around him. They were scared of him big time because of who he was. When he showed up to your house, you didn't want him around. He was that guy. But after his experience and after what he saw, it completely changed him into a different freaking person, man. Now it's like you couldn't even tell he was that person anymore, right?
Wait, you mean by him just seeing the UFO and having some things happen in the house, or did he have more things happen?
No. When you see the film, you'll understand the part two.
Okay.
It's in the detail, but
I'll have to watch it.
yes, you have to watch it. It's like he actually has a visual connection with the pilot inside of this craft. This is how close this craft was to him. So when that happened, that immediate explosion of information went right into him, and he just turned into this different person, where he wanted to study physics, quantum mechanics, anything that figure out how these ships worked, right? So that's when he started listening to Dr. Leonardo Susskind, right, on quantum mechanics. He did that because, and he says you can watch it for free. So at the time, it wasn't working, so he just watched everything on YouTube, and this is how he started learning everything. So by the time he caught up to me, he was already, I don't know how many classes in with quantum physics, right? And because he was trying to figure it out, and he still watches these today, even today, while he still has a regular job now. So it's
what was that name again, Doctor? What?
Leonardo Susskind. He teaches quantum mechanics for free on YouTube.
Something else to be diving. Leave me alone.
So when we did a session with Don, and he wanted to do some exploring in the SSP connection. And he had said, I had taken him underwater to an underground base where it was another dimension, and it was the headquarters of the secret space program, I believe they said, right? Was that it? And when you were there, they said, you said that you saw me talking and teaching. Can you tell them about that part? I'll mess it all up if I try to say it. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, basically what it was a facility in a different density than we are currently. And it was in some point of the future. And what Maya's consciousness at that stage of existence was teaching us was how to like quantum jump through time and space using a series of techniques that's what she was instructing us on. Right.
Okay. Right.
So it's literally what I saw during my SSP stuff was a section of my consciousness that exists in a reality that is involved in a super soldier program in the future.
Okay. Wow.
And somehow I've been able to tune into parts of those memories in this reality.
Like a past life regression?
Yes.
Yeah,
Parallel.
Parallel.
Yeah.
Life.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I get
Or future, actually, because it was the future. Wasn't it the future?
Yeah.
right.
Because we are multidimensional living, we are multidimensional beings living life simultaneously. So you can tap into anything at any point in time. That's what
Right.
I've taken this past life regression to the next level. It's not even about the past anymore. It's about it all, you know.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to ask you, you said something about this guy that you were talking to, that Dawn had connected with, like the similar stories. How soon, or how, like, when did he wake up? Was it recent? Was his story recent as well? Like yours?
2019.
Oh, okay. So what I want to know is, what wave is that? Of like, what way? There's supposed to be 3 waves of volunteers, and there's like these new souls and all. Like, I need to know, like, the people who awaken in that period of time, like, who are they? I know they're key players. I know they're
Maya,
key players. Huh?
which wave would depend on their age?
Oh, really? So
Yeah.
even though they all wake up in 2019, it just depends on their age to who they
It's
are.
generation.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it happened to him late 2018, early 2019. I think that's what he says in the film. But that's when it happened to him. But it's like as soon as it happened, the day that he saw it, it was like 5:30 in the morning. So as soon
Oh,
as that took place, like right after that, everything just changed that day, from that day forward. So
wow.
yeah, and that's what happened
You
to
know,
him.
I think it's totally, what's the proper word? I don't want to say beautiful. I think it is just mind blowing that we are living in the days that this has finally been revealed. Do you know how long I've been waiting for this? Like, we are actively, publicly, it is the hottest topic right now. You know, like, everyone's like waking up, like everyone is just like, whoa. And, you know, even there's still some people who are like, oh, I don't believe in that. And I'm like, well, maybe you're right. Maybe you don't. Because I was told not everybody's here is human and not everybody has a story. So I can't argue with people if they don't believe it, you know? Hey, it's fine.
Right.
There was something else that you said that I wanted, if I can remember. I can't remember at the moment. I'll let it come back to me. But go
Well,
ahead. I don't.
I think that because of when I first started in July of 2019 of podcasting, there wasn't that many UFO shows out there. There was only like 2 or 3. That was it. That was all.
Mhm.
I remember that. And so I was like, okay. So I started bringing it to life. I was talking to these other guys that were doing it too. And then what I noticed that not very many people's eyes were opened yet, right? Until the government started releasing their videos and pictures and all this stuff. Okay, right. As soon as that happened, boom, it triggered like a domino effect, right? Of everybody just saying, whoa, what was this? Okay, right. And I just I just did a podcast today, a little while ago, like an hour before I talked to you guys. And I talked about this because I'm talking about ufologists, how back in the day in the 40s, right? 1941, 40s, 30s, whatever, when something was spotted and they used Dr. Hynek to this was their fall guy, right? That they used to say this was a UFO or wasn't a UFO, right? So back in the day, all they did was, they didn't have cell phones, anything like that. So they called their local sheriff first, right? And then what did they do next? They called the government, right?
Yes.
I saw something in the sky, blah, blah, blah. I don't know what it was. They got tired of hearing it. So that's why they hired Project Blue Book, Mr. Hynek, right? To do
Oh,
this because they got tired of it. So this is where ufology actually, the seed started for it. But this is when everybody trusted the government at the time. Then lo and behold, later in life, they just didn't reach out to the government anymore because we had MUFON, we had all these organizations out there, right? So that's when, then all of a sudden, bam, the government pops out with this. Here we go, right? It woke up some people and said, well, wait a minute. So you guys knew about this and you're just barely spilling the beans right now, right? So it got their attention. And this is what ufology is, right? And then I think at that moment, what you're trying to say is I think that's when the awakening started happening for people. Boom, 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 boom.
the
Right?
Great Awakening.
Right? Like, and to me, that's how I see it. That's how I see it because this
Yeah.
is how I noticed.
Well, what was my awakening called then if it wasn't the Great Awakening? I mean, I feel like my awakening was um when I really, really figured out that there was something odd going on, like not just, oh, I want to get enlightened. It was like, okay, there's something that is sinister. And, when I was really starting to put the pieces together, that
Right.
was like around 2012. That was right before. So around 2008, somebody had said to me, oh, there's this planet that's headed our way and it's going to crash into us. And I was like, wait, what? And then I looked online in NASA and I saw this thing that it looked like this image that I seen in hieroglyphics and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh my God, is that it? And then I just started going down this rabbit hole like Nibiru. And then I ended up doing hypnosis. And I'm like, oh my goodness, it's just so crazy where it's led. Oh, by the way, I did see a UFO too, up and close and personal. And
Nice.
it looked like the moon was literally on top of me. It was gigantic. Sorry, what's up, Don?
You said 2012, Maya. Look up the theory of 2012 because there's a theory going around the paranormal community that in 2012 the Earth that we lived on actually got destroyed and we all skipped to a new timeline. That's where the Mandela effect actually started, and that's when shit started to change. Is because the Earth we were originally on got destroyed in a catastrophe, but we all blinked onto this one, and that's why shit's different now. And we're just kind of skipping to try and tune into the right frequency at this point.
What?
Wow.
No shit.
I'm gonna have to look into that. Oh my goodness. Yeah,
Wow.
but I seen a UFO, and when I looked closely, I saw a shadow behind it, and I was like, oh, and then I looked and I squinted my eyes and I saw these little lights in the corner. It was one here, one down here, and they were just like swirling and twinkling, and it was like green and blue and like maybe red. I don't know. It was so bizarre, and I was like, oh, and I was with a friend who had seen a UFO. But then also when I was 15, I had tried to take myself out and I was in a coma for 3 days. And I was so upset because it was black. There was nothing. And I was like, really? There's nothing? And
Wow.
15 years later in my hypnosis session, I asked, like, what happened? Like, why didn't I see God? And they said, well, it's because you were actually taken. So at my abduction, I was taken by the Syrians aboard a spaceship, and they adjusted my frequency because I didn't have enough. My family wasn't spiritual enough, and so
Wow.
they had to adjust my frequency and send me back.
Wow.
And yeah, I was like, gee, thanks. I didn't like that. I woke up upset. But where was I going with that? Yeah. I've seen a spaceship. I've been on a spaceship. I've had my abduction, but I didn't feel safe reporting it, you know? It
Wow.
just didn't. And then I was listening to Carla Turner one time, and I got pulled over by the police, and they followed me. Somehow they followed me to my location. I had 15 cop cars waiting for me and guns drawn on me just for
Oh hell.
listening to Carla Turner's video. And when I got, and then like, it was just so bizarre. And then the second time I had my yoga mat with me that got left behind at the airport. When I got to my car, the yoga mat was in the back seat of my car, and they had gone through my luggage saying, they went through my luggage for my safety, and that's where I had my book, Carla Turner. So
Wow.
both times of me talking to Carla Turner back in the day, I think this what might have been before 2012. Was it? No, I don't think so. But I was getting harassed. I started to get, it wasn't safe. That's my point. It wasn't safe before to really come forward. So, right, to be able to talk about this stuff, you guys, to have a podcast, to have, like, you don't know. For me, this is so big. It is so big that we're not
Yeah.
going to get killed. All of us that want, like, you know, they can't take us all out. And, you know, so yeah, it's mind blowing. It really, truly is. And, you know, they've been putting it out there forever, you
Yeah.
know, Star Trek, Star Wars, X-Files, all these, you know, Marvel comics. It's all there. That's what they told me. They said the truth has been there in front of you. That's how they do it. Oh, and then the other thing, this is what I heard, and then I'll stop. All these catastrophes that have happened where they've had these huge wars or Holocaust or Maui, things like this, they're making deals. They've made more deals with the negative ones, and they're harvesting. And that's what they're doing. That's what that was. Maui was a deal. They got a deal. And I one of my sessions, I can't remember which one of my sessions said it, but they did say that that's what's been going on this whole time. Even the Holocaust with the Jews, that was a deal that was made to take souls to harvest. So have you seen any of that stuff along your way? Have you touched on any of that?
No, well, as far as that, it's like tapping into something that's deeper. I had a podcast with a woman. Her name is Vivian Charvet. I don't know if you heard of her, Vivian
No,
Charvet. Okay,
not yet.
so she is like a spokesperson for I forgot that extraterrestrial race. And I don't know if it's Andromedans or something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head. Anyway, she's like a peacekeeper, and she when we had this podcast last week, I believe, or a week and a half ago, she tells everything like what you just explained, like how how you're able to see other things and what they're doing. Because I asked her those questions, about the Majestic 12, the meetings of universal meetings that they're having up. Is this a true thing? Is this a real thing? Right? She said yes. It's because they don't want to go in with the governments, and there's deals being made back, in the back door, of things that are happening right to people. And so I did ask her those kind of questions as well, like what you just brought up. So yeah, I have actually just recently had a conversation with somebody that asked that I was dealing with.
Wow. It needs to be asked. I feel like it really does, because it's part of the disclosure,
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Anyways, Don, were you going to say something? Sorry.
Actually, yeah. A while back, you were talking about the ship that you had seen. There was a part in your newest movie at 8 minutes. You do a little clip of basically a translucent craft, and it just kind of like blips across the screen. That is identical to something that everybody that's sitting in this room right now, between Spinja and Ray, have seen. Like, we all stood in our backyard probably a month
Yeah, but a month or two ago.
a month or two ago, and Spinja went, "Is that a UFO?" And Ray and I just went, "Yeah." and it looked like it was trying to look like an airplane because it had a light on the front. But then
Right.
once it passed us by, all you could see was like somewhat of a object in the middle, and then it was translucent. Like you could literally see most of the way through it, and you could see that it was a fake plane.
Oh,
Right,
wow.
once it passed by, but when you were underneath of it, it looked almost identical to what was in your movie. And then, like, all three of us just went, "Well, shit, that was a UFO." And
Wow.
like I said, like Buddy said in your movie, who do you tell? Because
Yeah. Yeah. Who do you tell without sounding nuts? Right. That's exactly what he says.
Well,
yeah,
Because
they do say when you see a UFO, it's their way of letting you know that you've already been on the ship. So whether you've been on as a galactic family and you're just tapping in with your soul family, or abducted, depending on the ship.
right. Or
And
the
so
extraterrestrial.
I've taken a few of these people back who've done sessions with me who've seen UFOs. I think we've asked Dawn, I can't remember what they said, but I think we might have touched down on that, like what happened. So I know on one of my other friends, her and her family, her siblings saw a UFO. And so I did a session with her on the ship. I took her to go meet her higher self, which was never happened before. And they went for a walk into a private room where they saw a movie theater. I said, sit down with your higher self so you can ask your higher self questions. It's never been done before. And so she's watching a movie with her higher self who looks just like her, but a higher version of her, you know? And so she's like, wow, I look great. You know, and she's like, she looks great. And then so they went through the whole thing, and sure enough, her and her brothers and everybody, she was abducted. She had hybrid children. Some of them had died because they had been experimenting on them. So yeah,
Wow.
it was crazy. It was crazy. I could tell you stories all day. But
Yeah.
what I wanted you to talk about, you were going to talk about, you were saying Vivian Charvet. I think I interrupted you. You were talking about her. And from there, where were you going to go? Did I
No, no,
interrupt you?
no. I was just saying that the connection that you spoke about what they were trying to do and the deals that they made, the backdoor deals. She said the same thing, right?
Wow.
But she said that a week and a half ago too, and then you bring it up today. I'm just telling you the coincidences that are happening
Yes.
because of that. And it's just, and she comes out in these popular documentaries. She's on the History Channel. She's this person that's up there, right? And she reached out to me and was able to get on my podcast. And of course, she was a great person. I think she's from where is she from? Uh, French. I think she's French. Yeah, she's French. So she's got a little accent when she talks, but she's a great person. Very humble, very passive.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wonderful. That's great. I love that there's so many contactees, there's so many people that can bring forth this information. I am just so thrilled. So
Right. But
thrilled.
what I wanted to bring up on part two, the film, it's a bit dark. It's the darker side of the extraterrestrial visitation or what happens
The
afterwards, right?
abductions?
No, it's not an abduction, it's the contact. It's the actual contact of once you witness a craft and once you see it, you can't unsee it anymore. In other words, I don't care where you're at. You can be at home, you can be at a different state. You just look up in the sky, you're going to see one. That's the contact we're talking about. So usually when in my film, what I'm trying to explain by showing you all these stories is that the people that witness these things start getting these paranormalish things start happening to them around them, not just at home, outside in the woods, things like that. So it's almost like once the connection is made, the extraterrestrial, whatever it is, it could be bad, it could be good. We don't know, but you don't know at that moment. But they just start witnessing a lot of things happening in the house, right? Shadow figures start popping up all of a sudden. Just doors start opening and closing. Cameras are not picking up things that they used to pick up. It's just a lot of electronic magnetic fields start happening around them, right? And it does have darker sides to it too, right? Where they do have post-traumatic stress disorder. They'll get paralysis. Almost everybody in that film is going to say they got paralysis of some sort. right? So, and I'm talking about not being abducted at that moment. I'm talking afterwards, at home, having paralysis,
Sleep
just by yourself.
paralysis.
Yes. So, and this is the what I'm trying to explain on the darker side of the contact, not just the good ones. I know there's good ones out there. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just showing people that the folks that came out on this film, it's unscripted. None of them I told them what to say or anything. They said everything what they wanted to say. All I did was ask the questions like we're doing here today. So they just gave me everything that's happened to them, their physical evidence, everything that shows that's compelling for me to put it on film and to show you kind of I kind of show you exactly what they went through, so that way you can kind of get the feel for it of what they were experiencing, right? And of course, on my third film that's not out yet, I do have a bad one on that one. It's going to be a real bad one, and a bad experience I'm talking about, just to a woman, and she's going to actually tell her story, and it's going to be a bad one. Okay, so that one's not going to come out till maybe in about 2 months from now. But this one is gonna, it just kind of gets you into the darker side of it, but it gives you some kind of an aha moment. Okay, in other words, for people that have never said anything about it, about witnessing a UFO craft to anybody because they don't want to wear the tinfoil hat, of the stigmas. It just kind of gives you that aha moment. I saw that. That's what I saw. And look, that's exactly what look what Don's experiencing right now, just by watching the film. And
Yeah.
his son is just amazed by it. Even I'm sure your wife too. But it's crazy how just a film like that can show people on how you know things happen to folks, but it has happened to you too. You just haven't really recognized it as that just yet until you see it unfold in front of you on TV.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
like I had said, like that one clip that you had there was identical to something that everybody here has seen. Before we went on the air, I was telling you about the experience I had in Ontario when I was a kid, where there was a group of us who saw the Phoenix lights when I was like 8 or 9 years old, right? And then the weird phenomenon after that, where my friend who I was talking about actually called me about it, or sorry, texted me about it. And there's, like you're saying, it just, you almost stop realizing that it's happening because you stop paying attention to it. But if you spend enough, I can go out to a dark sky and look up and know I'm going to see something. It could be
Right.
something shooting across the sky, making a 90-degree turn on a left that we can't do. Or it could be like blinking lights. The one night we had something like literally, it didn't look like it was in outer space, but it certainly didn't look like it was in our atmosphere. And it wasn't that helicopter. It was shining a light on the general area where we were, and it wasn't the moon. It was just
Mm.
a bright iridescent light coming down from the sky. And it's like, what the hell is this? Like, it just
Right.
kind of follows you once it starts happening.
Exactly. That's exactly
Yeah.
right.
Oh, the moon is in front of me and it's huge right now. Wow. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy because I live over here by Benny and Barney Hill,
Oh,
alien
right. Right.
UFO abduction. And the funny thing for me, when I experienced my first loss of time, it's when I was driving out here. I was driving on the highway. I was camping in the woods for a week, and I drove to drop my daughter off, and I was on my way back. It was a 2-hour drive. I had my dog with me. She was sleeping by my feet by the pedal because she's like literally is tiny. And I had my alarm clock set on my phone, like the GPS, everything. 2-hour drive. I should have got there at like 8, I think. 7, 8, 9, like 9:30, 10-ish. And when the dog started, I'm just driving and I didn't have music in my car, right? So I was totally meditating. The lines in the road hypnotize you. And I'm just driving and not even paying attention, just driving automatic. And my dog starts barking like crazy out of the blue, and she's by my feet. And I'm like, whoa, I just like snap out of it. I'm like, whoa, what's happening? What's going on? I'm driving and I'm like, what is going on? And I look at my GPS and it says it's 10 o'clock, which means I should be at the location. but my GPS said I still
Right.
had 2 more hours to go.
Oh wow.
So
So
what the
everything
hell
stopped.
happened? So I
Everything
had two
stopped.
hours of lost time. So I didn't get there till midnight. I drove for 4 hours and I had to pull over because I was panicking and freaking out because I couldn't believe I had lost 2 hours of time. And my dog called me on it. She just woke me up. She snapped me out of it. I still need to find out what happened. I don't even know what happened, but something happened. But I did find out that I was an airbender. I can stop time. And I did hear that as soon as we daydream and blink, just like zone out for a second, we've already been traveled. We've done, we've been somewhere. So you never
Right.
know, you know. But I'm
Wow.
wondering, as a kid, I daydreamed a lot. So I'm wondering how many times did I travel off planet when I was a kid?
I don't know if you remember the Betty Andrea. Was it Betty Andreasen? She was the one that was in her house washing dishes, and her whole family was in the house. And it was late in the afternoon. I think it was like 1972, somewhere around there. And her dad, the kids, he had 4 children in the house. They were all probably about 8 to 12 or whatever. Mom and dad were in the bedroom, whatever. And so she sees this light come down while she's washing dishes. It starts bouncing, and then all of a sudden she notices there's like 4 little aliens kind of moon jumping towards the house, right? They're kind of floating, but moon jumping. She says they were like floating, right? So this, I'm going to get to your point just to say. So she says she notices they're coming to the door, but she doesn't hear the door knock. So they go through the door. They go right through the door, right? All three or four of these things. They're little grays, right? So at that very point, when that happened, the kids looked, everybody looked. They all went into called a suspended animation, where everything's frozen in time, right? So at that moment, that's when everybody was kind of like locked in like this, like kind of like a frozen. She said it was like suspended animation, and they got her, and they floated her all the way to the ship, her and her daughter, right? Which brings me to my point of what you were just talking about. Loss of time, suspended animation, everything stopped at that moment. They were able to control time at that moment, right? So whatever these things are, they can do this as well, right? And that's the parts that we have to kind of wonder, how in the hell are they doing this, right? To where you're losing time. But they're able to do what they're going to do to you, check you out, whatever they're going to examine, bring you right back, put you back in the same spot that you were, and take off. And the funny thing about that whole story is that the parents were sitting there watching it the whole time, but everybody's in suspended animation, right? But when they started, after it was all done, said and done, and they left, and they all woke up, the only ones that remembered were her and her daughter that remembered, right?
Oh, wow.
Yep. So that is and her daughter, I think, was like 12 at the time, something like that. So she was old enough to understand, right? The daughter was. And those are the kind of stories that kind of freak people out, right? But talking about your loss of time, I think they're able to control that and that and right there at that space of time, right? To where there is no time, really, in reality.
I believe it's great technology.
Yeah.
I believe they're the ones that I don't think the reptilians are doing stuff like that. They're more, they just jump in your body and go in through, they have another way of entering and having their fuckery with you. But grays, I think it's the grays that are doing a lot of that, because they're trying to do the hybrid program. They're trying to they're trying to get their job done. So I think that's why they're doing that.
Right. Right. And I've talked to people, about, the loss of time thing. It's like when you're asleep and you're in your subconscious level, once you're deep down in the subconscious, when you're asleep, you're walking around in your dream, whatever you remember.
Yeah.
I don't see anybody looking at their watch. I don't see nobody looking at a clock on the wall during your dreams. I
Right.
don't. Or I don't know about anybody else. But in other words, when you leave your body at that subconscious state, I believe you leave your body in a sense, right? You travel. There is no time. There is no time. Time doesn't exist when you're dreaming. So this is how I think about it in that sense.
I
Yes.
actually I actually had an ayahuasca shaman explain it to me that if you picture it like a projector carousel, where they can literally take one frame of time, and that's you, they can take you right out and they can look at you, they can play with you, they can inform you, they can do whatever they want in that frame of time, and then put you right back. And you
Wow.
won't even know unless they want you to. And I actually had a personal experience where they screwed me up by 2 minutes. And everybody's heard me bitch about it because I was irritable for 2 days until I got told by the Arcturians in a dream that they fucked up by 2 minutes and they put it back. And I'm like, do you know what you just did to me for the last 2 days? I felt
Wow.
uncomfortable in my own skin because I was off by 2 minutes.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
That's kind of the theory I go off of. Is like they can literally just slot you in and out of time.
That makes sense
Oh
too.
yeah. With the blink of an eye. That's all it takes.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's so many people that are having experiences, so many people. It's unreal. It is unreal. But
it was, oh,
I was just gonna ask you, what other questions did you have on there, Don? Curious.
I was going to mention too that more than one occasion you were talking about, how people are watching this and it might trigger something. My partner was actually sitting here several times and like, oh, that's not normal. Oh, those aren't stars. Like when the guy was like recording the stars and you can see it like pulsating. And she's like, oh, that's not normal. No, because you don't look at it. Nobody realizes it's there. Right.
Yep.
And like I said, even for myself, when it follows me around, if I stop paying attention to it, I stop seeing it. As soon as I look up, I know it's there and it starts coming back.
Right.
Right.
Exactly. That's Robert Bro. He's out of Jasper, Texas. He actually said that himself that he feels like they're always watching him. He says that in the movie, I believe. So it's crazy because he sees the lights. He sees the blinking lights every once in a while he's leaving the town, and then when he's coming back, he sees them again, and they kind of go through the trees and stuff. So his story is kind of a rare. It's a gem, like something like that, because it's a little different. It's a little different than what you're used to hearing or on regular stories. So his is very different. And of course, Ryan Keaton is also as well.
His story is different as in different from people. How? Like
it has more of a paranormal scared feel to it, but it kind of manifests in a sense to where it almost looks extraterrestrial too. So what he's experiencing, the whole experience looks and feels extraterrestrial, but it's almost like a 70-80% paranormalish as well. And he gets the dark EBGBs with it. You know what I'm trying to say? It's like it scared the living crap out of him, put it to you that way. And this is a big man. This is a big, okay. He's about 6'1", somewhere on there. I'm 5'9". This guy's huge. He's big. And for him, when you hear his testimony on that film, you're going to hear the shaking in his voice while he's talking about it, because it affected him. It affected him that way. And that's what I'm trying to bring to the table for people to see the realism that's involved with witnessing these experience. Exactly.
Yeah. There's a guy you should meet. His name is Ricky G. Have you heard of him?
It sounds familiar.
He was abducted. He's from California. He reminds me of like a gangster kind of guy that was abducted. He probably hates me saying that, but that's the only thing. He reminds me of my father. But he was taken, and when he was taken, somehow he was awakened in the process. So he remembers everything in his details, and he goes to the moon. He's in this goo. You have got to talk to him. I did 2 interviews with him. He's a friend of mine now. He was one of the first people I befriended when I started my UFO journey, because I was like, okay, I think I'm being abducted by aliens. I need to go down that rabbit hole. And that's where I started on this journey. because I was like, okay, something's happening to me. I think I'm being abducted by reptilians. And but it wasn't reptilians. But the thing with him, he talks about this amazing experience, and you might want to hear what he has to say. He's got some juicy, good details. I mean, some of it, I mean, yeah, it's a lot.
Sounds
His
familiar.
story is really good. He went by Ricky G. He now goes by OG Raw Deal. When he first came out, he wasn't showing his identity. He was a little bit funny about that. But now he's been on like Dr. Phil because he got a stalker. He had to like prove his innocence and his identity, you know, clear his name, because that's what happened. He came out too early. And so he got tagged with one of those crazy stalker people trying to just, you know, take him down. And so I kept being friends with him. You know, I kept supporting him and letting him know, like, you know, it's going to be okay. And then finally, a few years later, I'm like, hey, we're doing podcasts. Let's get an interview. And he's like, I haven't done an interview in a long time. So I'm like, let's do it. It's time. It's time. You're safe. This is a safe space. I'll put you with safe people. You can talk, tell your story, and you don't have to worry about anybody coming at you. And yeah, you might want to check his story out.
Yeah, send him to me. It kind of sounds familiar though, but I don't know if it's the same guy. I knew a guy from California too. He used to reach out to me. He was a security guard, and he was asleep in his car when something really bad happened to him, just like that, with the abduction. So this guy reached out to me a couple of times from California. I thought you were talking about the same person, but probably a
No,
different guy.
I think he was at home in his sleep when his happened.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
He talks about like how they use holograms, how they made it look like he was walking into a garage and it was really a ship that he just freely walked into.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's got some good details.
definitely. Send him my way. I'd like to talk to him. Well, I hate to cut it short, but my son's already calling me.
No worries. I really appreciated you. If you want to, you know, continue, again, anytime, if you're free anytime, you know, we'd love to have you back anytime.
All right.
I'm gonna book him for the radio podcast in October.
Okay. Yep.
Right on.
But even then, if you wanted to come back on Tainted Tea, and I mean, there's plenty to talk about. So you can always continue talking about your story or whatever. And then I'm gonna watch the video, and I want to have some questions for you too, because I want to support the people who are doing this and are genuine, and I really just want to get the information out and help. And I just want to find my tribe and just support my tribe and just, you know,
because
it's crazy out
there. It is. But everybody that knows me, like that I've interviewed, and even all the people that follow me and represent Alien Strand Disclosure Project, all the people, I have over 20 people that I talk to every day. These people are like, they're my warriors because they know that I'm not in it for the money. They know that we're in it for full disclosure. So, you know, and that's what we're about. So, and I just want to say thank you for having me on your show today. You know, I hope I gave a little bit of insights to people, and or just kind of help a little bit to people that are just barely waking up and doing their great awakening, like we talked about. You know, I definitely will come on your show again. Watch those 2 movies. That'd be great. If you can't watch, anybody out there watching today, the middle part 1, Cascadia Guides. It's on Tubi TV, and it's on YouTube, and it's on Amazon as well. So you can catch it there, and then go see the new movie. It's on Amazon Prime Video. So you can see part 2 there on Amazon Prime.
Beautiful. I will. Thank you so much. And do you want to let everybody know any special other links to connect with you is on Facebook?
I'll send you I have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I got everything. So what I'll do is I'll send Don or one of you guys it's called All My Links, and then that has everything that I have. So on the movies, books, everything that I have. I did author a book as well, so I just recently got that out about a month ago. So it's Yeah, it's called CE5 Frequencies of Contact. So I just got that out. It's a guidebook on how to CE5 with the protocols, and it gives you all the definitions. And it's like a guidebook basically. So not very long, but it's a great book. It's on Amazon Prime.
Wow,
Um,
we'll check it out.
Right on.
Before you take off, I don't want you to leave on that note, because I want everybody to realize these are amazing films, and he kind of danced around the fact that he funds all these himself. This man is all about disclosure. He's doing it thousands and thousands of dollars out of his own pocket. Nothing but respect for you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you guys for just
Absolutely.
watching, supporting. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'm very
I
humbled.
will watch it and share it. Absolutely.
Awesome. Awesome blossom.
Yeah. Mr. Rogers, any last words besides that?
No, that I'm pretty good there.
Okay. All right. Well, blessings and infinite love to everybody. Thank you for watching. Make sure you follow. All the information is going to be in the links, and connect. And remember that we are the disclosure. It is time for us to speak out and to bring our stories, no matter what, big, small, even if it's dreams, sleep paralysis, anything of paranormal, what you're experiencing. Trust me, there is a reason behind every single thing. There is. And illnesses too. You think, oh, it's just nothing. Everything, there's metaphysical. It's all crazy. It is. But thank you for watching. Stay shielded and protected. Blessings and infinite love to you guys. Till next time, say bye.
Bye.